Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Plan Commission meeting on Monday, September 27th, 2021. I am Christy Goforth, sitting in for Chair Nancy Moore this evening. We'll call the meeting to order here at 7:01.
It says recording paused. Is that?
Ooh, hey, Will, it says recording paused on the screen. Little red button we've not seen before.
It looks like a good apple, too.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Should we send it away?
Sure.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We're calling the meeting to order, the September 27th Plan Commission meeting. It is 7:01 p.m., September 27th. I'm Alder Christy Goforth, sitting in for Alder Nancy Moore, who chairs this commission. Our city planner, Doug Plowman, will call the meeting to order, or do the roll call, sorry.
Alder Goforth.
Present.
Ms. Fallett.
Here.
Mr. Homburg.
Here.
Mr. Stein.
Here.
Mr. DePula.
Here.
Ms. Fox, Alder Moore, and Mr. Holmquist are excused.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from September 13?
Move approval.
Corrine, will you second?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any edits or corrections in those minutes? All right, if not, all in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Those minutes are passed. Item 4, appearances. Is there anyone here this evening to make an appearance? It does not appear to be. There is no unfinished business, so we're going to move on to item 6, new business. And we're going to kick it off with a public hearing on request by Menard, Inc. for approval of a zoning permit for a new bridge crossing between the warehouse and the store at 6401 Cox Avenue, case number 2-023-2021. Is there someone here this evening that can kick us off from Menards?
Hey everybody, Tyler Edwards, real estate representative from Menards here. I'm back, as promised,
Thank you for joining us.
with the second part of our project. I know we talked about it a little bit last time I was there, and that's the new bridge crossing. You probably remember from my explanation at the last meeting that the yard area of Menards has just gotten a little busier over the years, both with the online order pickups and the volume of contractor business we do. So a little bit our traffic has shifted from inside the store and the parking lot in front to the yard. The new order pickup lane, we wanted to make the yard a little bit more navigable, a little bit safer for trucks, because people drive their pickups in with trailers and they drive their big construction vans and there's bigger vehicles. Today we have one main bridge crossing, which is, it's fairly wide, set up for two-way traffic of larger vehicles. And then there's a second bridge crossing kind of down by the garden center, a little bit narrower, kind of more of a one-way crossing, more than the large one. What we want to do here is add a second larger bridge crossing up near the order pickup area and near the north end of the warehouse area and the loading dock. It's really a mirror image of the larger bridge kind of in the middle of the store. It's a span bridge, which means it'll completely cross the entire creek area with no impact down below. We have already received our Army Corps clearance. We're working on our DNR clearance. One item you'll know probably from the staff report packets, and the city engineer and city planning staff can comment on this. After reviewing that the last few days and the elevation of the floodplain, we've actually decided we're going to move all of our impacts out of that 849 flood elevation, which means the bridge is going to get scooted. The base of the bridge is going to get scooted west a little bit to get out of that line, and we're going to change the grading of the slope around the pond, so we're also out of that 849 flood elevation, so kind of protect ourselves and then that creek area a little bit with that. that won't impact the changes we're making to the inside of the stormwater pond. That had to get expanded a little bit to accommodate for the updated runoff due to the size of our improvements. But it will involve a very short wall along the outside of that to kind of hold back the fill material for the pond berm. I guess it's more of a bioretention than a pond because it doesn't really hold water, it just filters it. Out of that base flood elevation, which is really our goal. So to summarize all that, we want to add one more bridge that looks like the bridge that's already there. Same exterior, same fencing, same span, same width. And then we're going to do all that out of the base flood elevation as suggested or discussed with the city staff. And of course, open to any questions on what we're trying to do there.
Okay. Is there anyone else with your group that would like to present for the public hearing?
I'm the only one.
You're it. Okay. All right. Is there anyone else here that would like to comment during the public hearing session? Okay. Does not appear to be. So we will close the public hearing and we'll move on to item B, consideration of action on request by Menard Inc. for approval of the zoning permit for the new bridge crossing. And I'll kick it off to Doug to tell us more.
Thank you. So as the applicant mentioned, this will be the third bridge addition between the main store and the warehouse, the second of the larger size to accommodate the vehicles that would be going through. Clear span bridge designed to limit the impact to the stream and the wetlands. The site itself is zoned CDD, Community Design District, and Plan Commission reviews zoning permit requests within that. As you'll have seen in the staff report, the fence design does include a 14-foot, 1/4-foot fence. This is, again, an exact copy of what is already there, the same materials, the same finish. And the applicant, when I discussed this with them, said, it's for safety, security, and would be, exactly the same as is already there. You will see included in the packet, I believe, is attachment 1. The city's consulting engineer, Darren Pope, reviewed this in detail. He's also on the call, and I'll pass it over to him in a second to kind of walk through the highlights and the comments. There has also, of course, been discussion with regards to the floodplain. I believe, from what I have seen so far, it looks like they could most likely be handled administratively if generally the commission is comfortable with it. Overall, city staff recommends approval with the conditions as stated in the staff report. But I'd be happy to I've invited Darren Pope here tonight, and he's ready to sort of run through his comments in a little bit more detail.
Okay, excellent. Are you with us, Darren?
I am.
Excellent.
Everybody hear me all right?
We
Yes.
can.
Good, okay. So you'll probably hear me echo a lot of what Tyler had said. We had reviewed the plans, and they're proposing another bridge there. The main impacts that we had concern with was that the area where they're putting the bridge in is going to be they're going to be removing some of the bioretention area, which is the stormwater device that provides treatment for the runoff from their site. And so you'll see in their plans that they then proposed increasing the bioretention area to make up for that area that was being taken away. And then, of course, the bridge is going to be increasing the impervious area on the site. So they need to keep the same level of treatment that they had before the bridge was added in. And so the increased area, the bioretention area, will do that. And they have provided calculations for runoff rate showing that they'll meet the ordinance requirements for the stormwater runoff rates. And also they'll provide, the bioretention area will provide oil and grease control as required by the ordinance. And then sediment control also will be provided by the expanded bioretention area. And they provided modeling to show that will be happening. The other concern was that in reviewing the plans that was presented or submitted, that the expanded bioretention area in the west bridge abutment was shown to be in the area of the floodplain in the elevation 849. So I had mentioned that in my review comment letter. And since that time, there's been discussion back and forth with the engineer. And as of this, earlier today, they had sent an email and proposed to move the bridge abutment out and to put in a retaining wall instead of sloping and grading in the floodplain area to expand the bioretention area. So that's I would think the best solution for this, to just avoid the impacts to the floodplain. Otherwise, the city ordinance requires them to do a hydraulic model that shows that there won't be any impacts or there won't be any raising of the regional flood. And that's usually hard to do. You usually need a compensatory storage area. So you're filling in the floodplain, you got to take some area out of the floodplain to prevent storage. And that's difficult to do. So I think what they're proposing to do to keep the fill out of the floodplain is the best approach for that. And I think all the erosion control measures they were providing looked good. And I didn't really have any other comments to highlight. And if you have any questions about my review comments, I'll be available to answer those.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll kick it off to commissioners to discuss. Rob, would you like to start?
Sure. In general, I don't see an issue with this. I had a couple of questions, clarifying points. I noticed there's a bollard on the, let me see here, the northeast side of the bridge, or the north side of the bridge. Is there a reason there's not one on the south side as well, on that same side of the bridge?
Are you talking on the side that's close to the store?
Yes. There's one bollard on the whole site, and it's right at that wall.
Yeah.
And there appears to be another kind of turning opportunity on the other directional traffic there.
Yeah, the reason we did that is mostly because of the tightness between that corner of the bridge and the driveway that runs between the store and the fencing. There's a lot of, we'll call them inexperienced trailer drivers that come to Menards sometimes, and that right turn is a little sharp. There's not a lot of room to swing out and turn. So to protect that corner of the bridge, we wanted to make sure that there was something there that A, alerted people, a bright yellow bollard, and then B, it protected the structure, make sure there was no accidents. On the inside of the yard, there's a bigger space for a wider radius. You see the radius is much larger. There's a much bigger turning area. So that's really why there's a bollard there and nowhere else.
So on the side of the bridge closest to the building, there's on the north side of it, there's a bollard. On the south side, there's no bollard. And if you were driving towards the store, is it left only turn there? Or, because if it's a right turn, it's a sharper corner than it is going in the right.
It should be a left only turn. There's no intention that people are somehow making a left there and circumnavigating that direction. That's the hope anyway.
Okay, so that'll be signed or painted?
It should be signed, yes.
Okay. And then, is there any use of asphalt paving or standard concrete paving anywhere on the site? It's in the legend, and I couldn't identify it. The abutments look like they match the legend as asphalt pavement, but that's clearly not the case.
It's supposed to be concrete. I guess I didn't check the legend. The new space between the existing warehouse yard and the abutment is going to be concrete. The span deck across the bridge will be concrete. On the yard side, it's shown as concrete for security and holding of that abutment there.
C3.0.
Yeah, I'm looking at C4.
Right,
I
in
guess.
the legend there's asphalt pavement, and it looks to match the abutments. It's just a clarifying point. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing some portion of the plan. And I think it's just heavy-duty concrete. There's no heavy-duty asphalt, I don't think, or asphalt pavement at all.
Correct. You're very right. The same
Okay.
shading for the abutment is shown as the asphalt, which is incorrect.
Okay. And also on the C3.1 site plan enlargement, is that red light pole, is that the relocated location? Oh, it's called out, okay. I thought I read in the staff
Yes.
report that there wasn't, okay. I think that's all for now. Thank you.
Okay, good catches. Patrick?
I have nothing to add, and I think it's, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. And Chris?
Question, I just want clarification. Darren, the way I understand this, with everything out of the floodplain, which I think is a great decision by the applicant, we no longer need any of that other permitting, correct? Darren?
What other permitting are you referring to?
Well, we were going to go back and we were going to have to get some information back from a number of agencies. Since we're in the floodplain, we had to have that flood study, right? We don't need that. We don't, and we're out of the environmental corridor, so we don't need any approvals from CARPC.
In regarding to the floodplain, right, my review letter had indicated to them that because they're in the floodplain, then the city's ordinance requires them to do a flood study. So that would not be needed any longer if they keep clear of the floodplain.
I think it's a great decision by the applicant. I agree with Rob, signed or not. If I were you, it's up to you. You're protecting your own bridge, but I'd put a bollard on the south end of that too. I think that's the easier one to hit. I'm fine. I think the bridge is just fine. I think it's no different than what we approved quite a while ago.
All right.
Question, Rob, though, we don't need to have any clarifications from CARPC now that we're out of the floodplain, correct?
I would, my understanding is that this is still within the environmental corridor. That work is still being performed there. Correspondence from the applicant's engineer has shown that it would be a minor change.
Okay.
And so the process, as I understand it, is they look for a recommendation from the city,
Okay.
which I'd be looking for this zoning permit. But then the change is so minor that it can be done administratively.
Okay.
Is that your read as well, Darren?
Yes, that's my understanding as well.
Great.
It'd be a minor environmental corridor change.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have anything further to add either.
Maureen?
Oh, yes, Corrine. She disappeared. There she is. Now you're very small, so.
The site circulation was my biggest question, and so I think it's important to address that, just so people know where they are going. If the reason to put the bridge in is for safety, so just make sure people with their inexperienced trailer drivers know where they're going before they get there. So, but that was my only comment.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right. We're looking to approve this, right? Would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll move approval. Condition 1, add in all required federal, state, and local building permits. Condition 2, 3, and 4 is written by staff, and condition 5 that this is based on the revised information presented this evening with no work in the floodplain.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second it.
Great, thanks, Patrick.
Just
Chris? Yep.
reason I added federal, Doug, is they do have a letter from the Army Corps of Engineers, so we have that on file with their permit.
Thanks.
Excellent, thanks, Chris. All right, anyone else have any comments or discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. Thank you so much, Menards Inc. team. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, thanks again, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 7, reports of staff and commission members. And we'll start with the staff report regarding status of development project proposals and the economic development update.
Thank you. So couple updates, and this, as always, we'll sort of combine with upcoming items. October's looking pretty busy for the commission for review. October 11th, the North Point project at the White Horse Properties is coming back for another pre-hearing. I received materials today, and so that will sort of be an ongoing discussion. The Walmart site is going to be coming through for some minor changes, specifically to the online order pickup, changing some of the parking stalls a little bit more to how you would see a Target location with kind of the drive-in stalls and things like that, and a couple other minor facelift items. There's also going to be a zoning permit request for a new store going into River Place following a period of vacancy. So it's been a couple of years, so that will need to come back through because it's been more than the 6 months. Additionally, the October 25th meeting, I'm expecting the Monona Drive, the BMO Harris project to be coming back through as well. So they'll be submitting materials here shortly, and so a couple of the bigger projects will be back before the commission in October. Also pleased to announce from an economic development update standpoint that we were working with an applicant that's looking to occupy a space in River Place that was previously vacant, and they're looking to take advantage of the Bounce Back grant, which is the vacant storefront. It was part of the COVID relief. And so the city wrote a letter and was part of that application, and so they'll be most likely getting some grant support there. It's a new cookie store that will be going into one of the other spaces there as well. Cookies.
Oh.
I'm sorry, with the mask it's hard to enunciate.
I thought it was a cooking store too.
So it's not just the old guy.
Yes. I mean, I'm not that young.
Which building is that going into, Doug?
I believe that one is the 500 units, the 500 numbers, so it was the former pancake space.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, good.
Okay.
So they'll be taking a combination of that, and if I remember, the zoning permit application would be for the 700. It was, I believe, the last tenant in there was 2018, so that one's been a longer period of vacancy. I believe 704, but don't quote me on that one. So it'll be a cabinetry sort of showroom space.
So again, bringing people in.
Yes,
Great.
definitely.
Is the BMO Harris a pre-hearing?
Yes, they will both be, both the housing proposals would be pre-hearings. Yes.
okay. And you said the BMO is coming on October 25th?
Correct.
Planning? Okay, great.
And so I will, I'll be sharing these by email as well, just looking for, thank you. I'll be sharing
I'm not
these.
the only one.
Cookie.
Thanks for bailing me out there.
Cookie.
So I will be sharing these with the commission as well. We'll be looking, if we can get as close to full attendance as possible, that would be great, so they can get as
do
much
it.
feedback
Let's do it.
as possible. So I'll share that, but both those dates, if you can add those to the calendar, that would be great.
All right. Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay. And Plan Commission requests, oops, sorry, there we are, item 3. Updates and discussion on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, DEI. Okay, Chris, I was more prepared for you in your questions this time, so I took notes.
Good.
Better notes. So I serve on the ad hoc DEI committee, and so Chris has been inquiring, what are we talking about? So we've been talking about all kinds of things. We've been talking about the role of conflict, conflict between ideas and conflict between people. We're looking at the entire spectrum of conflict. We're really analyzing conflict and how to work through conflict in a way to move forward. We've talked about us versus them, who is us, who is them, who belongs and who doesn't. We've talked a little about defensiveness, some of the vandalism that's happened recently on the Black Lives Matter signs. We've talked about negative stereotypes being reinforced. And I would say, let's see. Yeah, and one issue, a big issue we've discussed is we tend to avoid items of racial equity to avoid discomfort and, uncomfortable conversations. So, and that's human nature, right? So that's a little of what we've been talking about there. I did want to add, someone did share with that committee, it's called the Monona Housing Discussion by UW professor Kurt Paulson. And it's a really great discussion. It's on YouTube. And I think it's maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Really great conversation. I'll ask Doug to share a link with folks. Yeah. And it came a lot. He was very involved in the University Year project. And he kind of led the housing discussions. So, yeah. Anyone else have anything on DEI?
So are we still information gathering and feeling each other out, and then we're going to come back with some action items or possible things?
Yeah, so we're just discussing a full spectrum of items. And then Karen Reese, who's with the Nehemiah Project, she's really kind of our analytic mind. And so she's taking all these notes, and she's going to compile probably some really fascinating reports. I can't wait to see it, because we've discussed a lot of different things.
At least recommendations that we may want to look at.
Yeah, like, and, maybe what are our big weaknesses, or what's the low-hanging fruit, and what are the bigger items that are more like societal change.
Okay.
Yeah, should be interesting.
Great, thank you.
It's moving right along, though. Those meetings go quickly, and there's a lot of engagement.
And you're meeting twice a month?
Twice a month.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's short though, isn't it? Like only a 6 month?
Yes, 6 months, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think by December, wrapping up around the holidays.
It's a lot of work.
It is. It is. I mean, and one of the things we've talked about is the struggle is the conflict of the idea of having one committee with all these diverse people and diverse voices looking at everything, in a way almost getting piled on with a lot of work. Like, here is all of our ordinances, fix this, versus having more diverse voices on every committee. And so that's a big thing we're looking at, because it is really hard for one diverse voice to be on a committee and have the only perspective, and that can be challenging. So. Anything else on that? All right. We are cruising right along here. So upcoming meetings, October 11th and October 25th. Sounds like those will be action-packed. And then any plan commission requests or for information from city staff. Okay, looks like not. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Move adjournment.
And a second. And a second by Patrick. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned. I think that might be a record.
We're good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.